So in this video, we're going to talk about finding the distance from a point to a line. And I can't cut corners here. I'm going to have to be honest. This is a multi-step problem. There are many steps in order to find the answer. In other words, I want to know what is the distance, the shortest distance, from this ordered pair A to the line. Well, we've kind of already learned at least the general answer to that. We know that the shortest distance from A to the line is the perpendicular. And so, what we're going to have to do first is we're going to have to find a perpendicular line that goes through A. Then we're going to have to find where that perpendicular line and the line that we're given meet. Where do they cross? That will give us two ordered pairs. And then from those two ordered pairs, we can use the distance formula, and that is what's going to answer our question. So first things first, let's find the perpendicular equation to y equals 3x minus 5. And it has to pass through the point A at negative 3, 2. So, we know that the slope of this line is 3, which means the perpendicular slope must be the negative reciprocal. So for our perpendicular slope, we're going to use negative 1/3. We know that the perpendicular line has to pass through A at negative 3, 2. So we're going to use the point slope form and plug in the appropriate values. This becomes y minus 2 equals negative 1/3 x minus negative 3, but we get a double negative, so it becomes x plus 3. Distribute the negative 1/3. We now have y minus 2 equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. Add 2 to both sides, we now have the perpendicular equation. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. Okay, great. Now we have the two lines. They're both perpendicular. And what we're going to have to do now is find the ordered pair B where they meet. The reason why we have to find B is because the question is to find the shortest distance. And the only way to do that is to use the distance formula. But in order to use the distance formula, we have to have two ordered pairs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set the two equations, 3x minus 5, and negative 1/3 x plus 1, we're going to set them equal to each other. And so that's exactly what we do over here. Negative 1/3 x plus 1 equals 3x minus 5. I subtract 3x from both sides, get a common denominator, and I get negative 10/3 x. I subtract 1 from both sides, and I get negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 10/3 or multiply by the reciprocal of negative 3/10, you get x equals 1.8. Plug 1.8 back into the equation that is simplest, and that's the 3x minus 5 equation. 3 times 1.8 minus 5 is 5.4 minus 5, so y is 0.4. Excellent. We now have point B, and I should write that right here. This is point B. B is at 1.8, 0.4. Not done yet, but close. Again, what's the whole point of the problem? To find the shortest distance, and now we're ready to do that. Here's the distance formula. The two ordered pairs that we're dealing with are negative 3, 2 and 1.8, 0.4. We plug these into the distance formula. This becomes the square root of parentheses negative 3 minus 1.8 close parentheses squared plus 2 minus 0.4 close parentheses squared. This becomes the square root of negative 4.8 squared. Make sure to have the negative in parentheses. And 1.6 squared. I like to go to the hundredths place when dealing with distances. That's 2 decimal places, and we found it. The shortest distance approximately to the nearest hundredth is 5.06. And so what we're what we're saying here is that this length right here is 5.06. And that is how you find the shortest distance from a point to a line. God bless you, wherever you are today.